welcome to TSO Daily. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Alright guys, so first off, I'm just going to say one thing. I know there's a lot of people who think we all make mistakes. Okay, so I'm a very forgiving person, and because I make mistakes too. I'm human. We all are. We have all been there. But I've been trying to tell this person about the ancient knowledge passive. Now, this one person would believe that you need to absolutely have a destruction staff ability slotted to reap the benefits from ancient knowledge. Okay, first let's get into what ancient knowledge is. Okay, we're going to go into destruction staff, and we're going to go down to the ancient knowledge passive, right? Gain bonus effect based on your staff type while you have destruction staff ability slotted, right? Now, you would think it says ability, right? That's the whole premise of like the ability the tooltip says. And I know the tooltip says that, right? I get it. But it's not true. It's while you have destruction staff. I'm going to show you guys why. Okay. But flame staff. Increase damage with single target abilities. Lightning staff. Increase your damage done with area of effect abilities. Frost staff reduces the block cost, right? You don't need to have an ability slotted. And how do I know that? Well, that's simple. Say, I'm going to go up here to Puncturing Sweep. It's an AoE effect, right? So it's dealing 3,087 on the lightning staff. Now, I do have Unstable Wall slotted, so that's an ability slotted, right? It's an ability. So it raises up my tooltip. Okay, simple. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to replace the Unstable Wall. Just something simple. I'm going to take the ability off the tooltip. Now I'm going to go back into Puncturing Sweeps. The damage doesn't change. The tooltip does not change whatsoever. Now, let's say I put my Puncturing Sweeps on my flame staff. Right? Now let's take a look at that. Now it goes down to 2,942. Okay? Why did it decrease from 3,087 to 2,942? Because of the destruction staff type. You don't have to have an ability to reap the benefits of ancient knowledge. Okay? So I know that tooltips can sometimes tell you, you should do this, right? You should have this ability slotted. And in class-based passives, that's true. Even some whatever. But sometimes tooltips are not completely 100% accurate. You have to test that for yourself. But when it comes down to the ancient knowledge passive, which is what type of staff, not ability. Okay, I know it says ability. I know it does, right? But it doesn't matter. If I put this wall, doesn't change the tooltip, does not change the damage. It's still going to remain 387. And if I put it on Inferno staff, I'm going to lose that boost because it's an AoE effect. It's just that simple. All right, and I get it, and I do. I'm not hounding the player or whatever, but I think it's like you have to pay attention to what the tooltip's going to indicate and what it doesn't. Right? So it's just that simple. I mean, I get it. I really do. That you know, the tooltip says. But I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of what the tooltip says. That doesn't mean the tooltip is actually telling you should be doing it, because it's just not. It's not accurate. It's not real. I see. I already got 2 dislikes, but it's true. Hey Mustang. Hey Robert. Helly, what's up? You have Destro out ability, bro. Destro ulti. Oh, that's a good point. That is a very good point. I'll actually take it off. Yeah, should go with the Nova. You might be right. I might stand corrected. So let's check this out. We'll put the Nova, and we'll replace this with this. Oh, nice. Good catch. So it did go down. So, and even look at me, I stand corrected. There it is. There it is. So we went down. So if we put the ability back on, so I stand corrected. There you go, live stream. Thank you. So I'm wrong. But no Destro ulti, and I'm still getting a slight decrease in the passive. So it's kind of interesting here. Actually, now it's got me kind of curious here. So I'm going to put back on the Adric Spears. And I want to put that Blazing Shard back here. And I want to put Blazing Shard here. Okay, 4007. 4782. So they're both, well, no, 3282. That's probably because of the Mage Guild passive. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and slot everything across the board the same. All right. Only way to find out. I'm glad I'm doing this live, though. All right. Okay. 47. 47. Both sides. They're going to be the same. So I stand corrected. All right. Destro Salty. Good call, dude. Good call. Good looking out, actually. It literally says have Destro staff ability slotted. Yep. You're right. But in my opinion, I don't know. I mean, let's see. That's the Thunderous. We're going to put that back. Now, let's say I do go with the single target, which I don't use any of these abilities. Destructive Clinch deals crap damage. Force Shock, ugh, they just deal crap damage. In comparison. So if you put that, and let's say you go back to Vampire's Bane, you get 5365 with the slot. Take it off. $300 extra on a hit. Hold on. It's a pretty good idea. I can't justify giving up the certain rotation either, though. Now, a lot of people do it, I guess, you know. My jab hits on tooltip 3.7K. What's up, Silver? Yo, David, what's up? Yeah. Vile, dude. Good looking out, dude. You know, and I have no pride. But yeah, I didn't see the Destro ulti. I was like, wait a minute. There's something weird around here. There's something totally whacked. Alright. So, let me go ahead. 738 4365. That's AoE side. What? 7-5. Why? What is going on with Vampire's Bane? Okay, that's why. All right. Seven, 9 on a crit, 4, 6. $400 less on the critical value. Take off. I'll just throw something in there. Wait, let's hit it one more time. 4, 6. 4, 6. 4, 6, 2, 8 base. Alright. Come on. Yeah, about 300 less per hit. If you wanted to, you can. But it's going to depend on your rotation, for sure. For sure. Like, Spears definitely scales higher on the Destro side. I mean, you could do it. I just don't like any of the single target destruction staff abilities. To use a destruction staff flame single target, I mean, unless I'm needing an interrupt or something, I don't justify it. I can't justify it most of the time. Because it just deals such less damage. But to see, yeah, the amplification, I'd stand corrected. For sure. I didn't pay attention to the Destruction Staff Ultimate. So, that is my fault. That is interesting. That is actually pretty awesome, to say the least. But just, I don't know, man. You could take out D-Gen and slot it, but I get the Might of the Guild, I get reduced costs, and I recover so much better with the D-Gen versus paying the 3,000. That's my personal play style. It should affect light attacks too, I'm thinking. Alright, let me get this back up into par. Alright, so I want Vampire's Bane back in there. Radiant Oppression. Purifying Light. Okay. Now, major sorcery I'm getting from this, you can get it from pots. It's true. You can get Might of the Guild from the Inner Light. That's up to you guys. Personally, the Destruction Staff, single targets, unless you're using Master Staff, which I have, I can't see using something like Destructive Clench or Force Shock. Unless you're using that Destruction, the Asylum Staff. Because they just deal terrible amount of friggin' damage. The amplification for Destruction's Touch is nice with it. The You know, status effect's nice for whatever, but I don't know. Four, 6. All right. That's without a pot, but if you add the buff, 1 second. Might of the Guild brings it up quite a bit with the major sorcery too. It's going to be a call. I just put the light. I'm used to going lightning dual wield. The only reason I put even flame staff to begin with was for the weaving capability between. Now, does it affect weave? Let's see. 4,000. $2,727 is pretty much without our crit on our base. Okay. One second. One. You do get a little bit more of an amp too with light attacks. A little bit. So it's going to be your call. So I stand corrected. I'll say that officially. So you do have to have it. I totally did not anticipate having the ulti. I totally forgot. So it skipped my mind. But, and I usually use the wall and or the elemental. But if you want to use a single target on destruction staff for PvE, have at it, I guess. If you're going to go that far, might as well pick up the master staff if you're going to use it. I mean, if you're going to use it to amplify it. But I don't use it. I use Might of the Guild and I proc up. So, but hey, like I said, play styles, amplification. We all can be wrong, and I just said that in this video. I stand corrected on a live stream. There you guys have it. Oh my. Back. Just going to be one of those things. It's going to be one of your personal calls. If you want to use a destruction staff on single, on both, if you're going dual dustro, and you want that little bit of amp, I guess you do need it. But I just put it on for the weaving, to be honest with you guys. I'm used to going dual wield, because if I dual wield, I get the passive to Twin Blade and Blunt. So in the past, I've never used the Inferno Staff. I've always went with, and I'll show you guys why. Okay, for example, hitting with this. Get 5-4 base with the Might of the Guild. 8-7-6. Alright. I can go with, let's see, where is it at? Just grab something, I guess. I think I have the, yeah, we'll grab the Nirnholm. We have Nirnholm. And I'll grab the shield. I'm losing that critical value, though. Or the other sword. We can grab another sword or whatever. Lose some of that. Okay. Twin Blade and Blunt, you don't need it, but guess what you lose? That weaving capability. See? I can't weave in between. You can't weave in between. You lose it. It's gone. Right? But you can set up. You can double stack. Use a monster proc. Whatever you want. All of a sudden, you go with the Inferno Staff. Now you can weave in between. Right. Up. Now see, I'm able to weave in between. So it's going to pick up some of that damage loss. That's the only reason I went ahead with it. Because I'm used to weaving every other one with the lightning staff. So the only reason I picked up the Inferno to begin with. But it's going to be up to you guys. Like I said, if you want to use those two abilities, let's say you don't have that, you can do it. Same thing applies. But just picked it up for the weaving. So I stand corrected. There you guys have it. Mystic Raven made a mistake, and I own up to it. But anyways, guys, yeah. It's best to test it. And, you know, I was like, you know, I'm just going to do it live. You know, I'm not going to go ahead and do whatever. You know, if I'm going to get caught with my pants down, might as well do it live. Why not? Why not? Let's do it. But yeah, thanks, Vile. Thanks for heads up, man, on that Destro. Completely forgot that was over there. Good catch, dude. Good catch. It's going to be your guys' call. A couple 100 points. You know, a weaving is less than, but ability, it's around 300. So, yep, there you guys have it. All right, I got to get going, man. I just wanted to jump on, do this quick video, talk about ancient knowledge. Okay, so we cleared the air. You do need ability slotted. Question of it is, are you going to? Like, I could take out any of these abilities, right? Let's say I take Degen out. I could do that. I could very well slot a single target ability. But now I'm going to use the Inner Light to proc my Might of the Guild. Right? That passive is huge. That is a very, very huge passive. 20% plus Major Sorcery. I can pick up Major Sorcery through potions. That's not an issue. Right? That's not the issue. The issue of it is the cost for the difference. 1,070 versus 3,005. Right? With Degen, I can cast every other one and apply set effect. So that becomes the issue for me. Because as soon as I get that, I can apply it to the wall. Right? If I keep casting it, you know, with the Inner Light, It's just going to keep costing me more magicka. Where I'm saving almost over 2,000 for using a builder. So once again, that's going to be your personal call. You're going to lose somewhere. Are you going to lose in the cost for the inner light and pick up? It's going to be called. You know, you can't gain everything at all times. And it's just the way it is. But I stand corrected. And most of the time I can't justify using it. Alright. Let me go ahead here. Just check out the comments and we'll wrap it up. Have you done VMA? You need a VMA lightning staff on your wall of lightning. You don't need it. It helps. If you get VMA staff, it does help. But it depends on your configuration once again. You know, if you're going to get it, and let's say I use two drop sets, then I'm going to lose Undaunted. If I use a crafted set like Juliano's, and I use a VMA staff or a just master staff or whatever, I'm not going to lose that bonus. So it's all going to be preference on that. So that's kind of where you're kind of questioning, like, okay, do I want it? Am I going to gain, or where am I going to lose? Hey Mystic, have you ran another trial with your Sork Tank? No, I haven't messed around with Sork Tank because I've been using my Stamplar. Force Pulse is really strong for a single target. Clench is trash. Clench is trash. I agree, Death. It's friggin' trash. But Death, please do not troll me, because I will totally get, like, ban your ass. Can we see a Mag DK parse? I heard they're really good in trials. Do not. Did you just... Okay, you're a console player, aren't you, Brandon? You know how I know? Guess how I know? Guess how I know? Guys, how do I know this dude's a console player? Anyways, yeah, I agree, Death. If you're going to take a look at Destro staffs, Clench is crap. It is. Pulse... It is good. It is. But, like, there are certain players that don't like Pulse. I like Pulse on Sorks. There's a lot of places I like Pulse. But there's a lot of places I don't like Force Pulse. You know? There's Pulsar. That's an AoE too. You're never going to put that on a single target. If you're going to go ahead and use Force Shock and stuff, yeah, that's cool. Destructive Clench is trash. Destructive Touch, Destructive Clench, they're both trash for PvE. PvP, whole different ball game. PvE, it sucks. I'm sorry, Zoss, it sucks. Even with the Master Staff, it sucks. It just sucks. That's what it is. It just blows. I'm not trolling. Force Pulse is really strong for a spammable DPS. Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree with you, Death. I'm not talking. I'm like, just don't. I'm asking you, don't troll. You have trolled in the past, so I'm asking you not to. Brandon here, though, is a console player all the way. He just got himself like totally out of there, especially paired with a Perfect Asylum. Oh yeah, Perfect Asylum is great, especially with Force. I agree, but once again, it's going to be out, based on your layout, and not all builds use it. Like we was using Pulse and Vet Hellra the other day. A couple of us were running Pulse, and it's it's good. No, it is. It's strong. Evening. What's up? Yeah. So I would agree. But here's the question, Death. If you're not using Asylum, would you use Force Pulse? Because that, once again, it's going to be based on a lot of things. Dual wield, like Twin Blade and Blunt, has always been the nice things if you're carrying over. Problem of it is you lose on weave, right? And then you lose monster set proc. And your configuration changes based on what? Whether or not you're maintaining Undaunted, whether or not you're maintaining a passive. So somewhere along the lines, you keep losing. You'll gain somewhere, you'll lose somewhere else. That's the problem, right? There's always somewhere you're going to friggin' lose in this game. It's like, how do you maintain, how do you get one thing without losing somewhere else along the line? That becomes the issue. Like on my Nightblade, currently I tried to utilize my bow, my spectral bow, on my flame staff. Or on my dual wield or wherever. Bar capabilities become questionable. Slotting, where I'm going to slot set ability, right? Because if I take a single target and I put on lightning staff, I'm losing, right? Versus like dual wield or whatever. So all of a sudden you're like grabbing for an extra spot. So you drop the inner light, and if you drop it, you drop 5% max magicka, and then all of a sudden, guess what happens to your DPS regardless anyways? It still goes down. So you're trying to apply a different effect to get more out of the rotation, but then all of a sudden you lose on base because you have to deslot something. And that's what's crazy. That's what's nuts. I mean, regardless of configuration, how many bar slots you have becomes relevant. Let me see here. Oh, it wasn't you, Death? Okay. There was somebody who had your tag that I actually had to ban, who made another account and had you make a video. So, was that you who had the other account? Because it was linked to the video. I mean, once again, I have no pride. I have none. Zero. At my age, I got rid of pride a long time ago. Some people do have pride. I don't. But the only reason I picked up the staff was just for the weaving capability. That's the only reason I picked it up. Force Pulse is good. I agree with you, Death. Especially if you get the Asylum. If you're grabbing Asylum, all the way. All day, every day. Even if you don't, it can be good. But because it just becomes questionable. Destructive Clinch, though, that skill needs help. It needs some serious help. Even with Master Staff. I've tried to use it with Master Staff, and I used to use it on DK just to get the extra status effect for the burn, and it was great for to get that status effect. But as far as like pushing out, across the board, it was a little lackluster. Yeah, that was your account. I rest my case, Death. Death, I have no problem you guys coming in and debating things. Understand that. Because even here, this one guy, he, pointed out, I was like, no, it's like right here. It's like, no. And then all of a sudden, here I am, I'm wrong. Right? And I have no problem with that. Right, Death? Zero. But I don't, what you guys are always trying to do is trying to be like, it has to be this way. And you guys have been like that. You guys have been like that, Death, and that is trolling. That is trolling. When you say it as an absolute and it has to be, and that's contradicting everything, that is the problem. That's trolling. So then, yeah, you were trolling. And I have no problem being wrong. Like I said, I have no pride. There's no such thing as a pride issue. But if you guys are going to troll, then you get banned. And I can be open to debates. That's not an issue. Debating's cool with me. Like trying to figure out and trying to work together as a community, that's cool. I'm cool with that. Admitting my wrongs, I'm cool with that too. Like, I'm really cool with that. I'm like open, right? But I just want to be able to have players play the way they want to and get the most out of what they're trying to accomplish with each individualized build. That's it. You know? And like I said, I do agree with you. Brandon, it's not you must be. You are a console player. Tell me I'm wrong. You gave yourself away with your question. Do you know why you're a console player? You've never played an MMO on a PC, have you? I can tell you haven't. For a fact. I'll tell you why, Brandon. Because MMOers, real MMOers, don't call target dummies parses. They're called tests. What can you test on a target dummy? Parses are metrics. That's what a parser is. It's a little device. It's a software, an add-on that comes up and breaks down everything for you. Those are parsers, not target dummy. Target dummy can't give me percentage values. It can't give me uptime. It can't break down, my highs and lows of my hits. It can't do none of that. Oh, I'm definitely wrong, Misty. Wrong. Up. 1 second. Oh. All right. No, I'm totally wrong. And I like keeping these videos too. I never said that you can't do this or can't do that, but if you want to be the best at certain roles, you're going to be pigeonholed into the meta build. That's why it's well, see, that's the problem right there, Death, because I built past the meta. That's where you're wrong. Okay? I've proven that willpower and agility is outbeating Slayer until Warhorn. I've proven that. But the meta still dictates that you use three or four pieces of, that set. But until Warhorn's applied, it doesn't deal more damage. And it doesn't. And there's players who came in my feed and confirmed that. Yes, it's true. Until, the threshold is higher for Slayer. But unless you're using a 5-piece set for the proc, like War Machine, you're not getting a 3-piece benefit from it. I want to see more ESO debates with tangible numbers. There's a larger lack of proof of concept. Thank you, Walmer. I love where you're going with this. Out of all MMOs, why does ESO have such sparing information compared to practically everything else? Dude, that's an awesome question. Dude, I agree. That's what I'm into. Dude, I love that. Doing this video and just being I'm wrong in this video. That to me is where we should be at, right? We should be comparing things. Open up, debate it, and have a reasonable debate. That's the issue. I agree. Totally. I totally agree with that. 100%. I feel like the forums, if you contradict anything that a player says, you get flogged for it. I'm wrong in this video. Am I butthurt about it? No. If anything, it's oh shit, I overlooked it. I should have been paying attention. And I agree with that. That's why I like my community members, because it's hey, Mystic, you didn't take a look at this. You need to take a look at that. And I'm okay, let's take a look at it. And it's and I even said at the beginning, I've been wrong. We've been wrong. And here I am, I'm wrong. And for the dude who posted, thank you. Thanks for the heads up, by the way. And I admit, I'm wrong. But why don't we have like these open discussions? Why aren't we trying to, increase the value of the builds? And for God's sakes, why do we condemn players if they decide to use something different, if it's maximizing their performance? Right? That becomes my question. It's odd. Played so many MMOs since the AOC, dude. I love you, man. And ESO is one of the weirdest developing games I've ever seen. It's like the info is lost in translation. Dude, I'm feeling you on this, man. Like, I love when, you go into it and you talk to players and you want to get a dialogue, right? And you're like, okay, well, we're seeing these changes, but how's it really affecting everything across the board? There's so many dang sets, right, that you literally have to try to test everything class by class, piece by piece. There's so much information out there, it's almost impossible for one person to do it. So what do? You should be, pulling your resources together. But in this game, the community is so into the whatever one person says. And I always tell players, don't believe me even. Test it for yourselves. I'll come out with the builds that work, builds that do very dang good. Like, there's a lot of builds that I take that all the way. Not all my builds do I use in trial scenarios, obviously. But a lot of the times I just like to roll 4-mans. I like to run DLCs. I like to do just open world content. I like to PvP. So there's a lot of things that's like, how's it going to affect you as a player? Forget about me. How's it affecting you? Can you show how your meta breaker Stamplar breaks the meta? Well, dude, Death, I can honestly tell you that you and your crew was the ones that hit the dislike. Because what it does, Death, I'm using the automatons, which is, I guess, part of the meta. What it does for my party and what it's been doing for my trial guild is buffing them. Right? So I didn't use like my VO set. Right? Why? Because I'm losing. I actually am not losing with that build. I'm gaining from the caltrops. All of a sudden, 3 other people near me are gaining as well. It's like spell power cure. But did you guys think of it? You guys are like, well, we put it on a tank. It's like, yeah, but it only affects X amount of players. Same thing with like War Machine or any other effect, that would buff. Spell Power Cure, you run 2 healers with it. Why? Because they only target up to 6 players. I don't say my builds are better, Death. Actually, I never say my builds are better. You show me one video where I say my build is better or I trash their builds. Only thing I say is that they are misinformed and they think it's going to deal this. That's what I say, Death. I say what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. And every viewer here would tell you that. And yet you guys will clutch everything on one player. That's what you do, Death. The info is there. You're just looking at the wrong places. Dude. Brandon. That's what I do. This poor kid. Okay. I gave you a chance, but it's not a part. Misty. Okay, last chance here. No, I didn't say I beat, like, I'm not with the meta, right? Who is, listen, I'm not with meta, and I'm never going to be meta, right? I beat the meta basically on this one aspect. I'm applying a said buff on a back bar without losing. Right? So I took an automatons on a Stamplar, which is, I guess a lot of people would say, the meta. And it's like, okay, do I want to run VO? Fuck no. Instead, what am I going to do? I'm going to use a proc set to do what? Buff my party members as I'm DPSing. Because I'm using caltrops anyways. Okay, cool. No synergy required, right? Base stats up. Hey, whatever. The funny thing about it is I've showed multiple times, hit by hit. If you guys were listening to the meta, you guys would still be in Twiceborn Star long time ago. Yeah, I've seen Stamplars run Powerful Assault before. Really? Have you? Link it. Link it to me. Link me the build where you have a Stamplar doing the same thing I did, Death. Because I've seen it on tanks, and that's it. I've never seen one trial configuration with a Stamplar using Powerful Assault. Link the vid. Link it. And it is a good set. And it's good for my party. It's strong. It hits hard. Hits like a freight train. But link it. If you're going to claim it, link it. Well, Death, if you ever pay attention to like my PTS test, the first thing I always do is compare every trial set on static values. I go over all that. That's how we found out about Twiceborn Star. When you guys aren't using Twiceborn Star, that's because of me, Death. Right? Nirnholm, that was because of me. That was my PTS tests. Alright? Just saying. Twiceborn Star, Gavin, was always shit. It never optimized. Never. Ever. It was never an optimized set when it came to any kind of... When you put any type of the CP system in, it didn't optimize. I proved that 2 to 3 times. It was always shit. It was a shit set. You guys listened to it because you guys meta. Remember you guys stacking CP? There's only 2 of us that were telling you guys not to do that. You go rewind their fucking meta builds. Let's talk about this really quick and let's get in there. Rewind their fucking meta when they were stacking CP 100 points in, ignoring mathematical law. Only 2 tubers, only 2 of us were telling you guys not to do that. Only 2. Me and my boy Zai. All of them were doing it, and they all have the videos showing it. But that's what I'm pointing out. We all can be wrong. I'm wrong in this video. I'm admitting it. So that's what I'm saying. We can learn from each other. We all can learn something. Don't have your head so shoved up in your ass, man. You know, we all, if we have an open mind, we can learn. We can grow as a community. They didn't understand diminishing return because they never dealt with it. Other MMOers like WoW here, or WoW, he's seen DRs since the beginning. If you played MMOs, you knew what diminishing returns were. I'm asking you to link the build, Death. I'm asking you to link the build. Josh, what's up, dude? Hey, Josh, I'm wrong in this video, by the way. So I stand corrected. Because I had the lightning staff all tee up. And I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. And Vile, thank you, dude. I don't. No, there's no such thing as BIS, Death. Okay, so Outcast got away from the BIS word. right? Me and him, I had to talk with Outcast at one time. I'm like, Outcast, mathematically speaking, there's no BIS, because BIS would apply to every class in said role, right? You can't do that. Why? Gilliam, I corrected, okay? Not on the one video, but we were talking, and I'm like, dude, you had 80% crit value. He was ignoring the critical value over the 55-point mark. He had videos with 80% crit. His base damage was going down. And I'm like, dude, you're ignoring the law of diminishing return. That's mathematical. I like Gilliam. Me and him squashed a lot of shit. All right? So me and Gilliam are cool. Do not get us started on whatever. There's no beef between me and Gilliam now. All right? So me and Gilliam's keeping an open mind. We had this whole talk about classes, playing roles, and whatever have you. Right? Both Gilliam and Outcast have changed their wording and approach for the last few updates. Kind of nice, to be honest. Right. They have. But people like Death, sorry Death, and I'm going to call you out on it, are holding on to best in slot. There is no best in slot. Right? There is none. It's mathematically proven. They've even proven it now. Outcast has finally seen the light. So is Gilliam. But there are some still, like Gilliam says, and then he said this one video, and I really liked it. He's like, I don't have the answers all up here because it's not as clear cut. Right? So we have to check it out. But we're doing the best we can with what we got. And that's the truth. Right? That is the truth. But that's why we can grow. Like, well, I literally was having a conversation on Gilliam with the Zan test, and he got combustion to proc on the Stamplar, right? With the Stam DK. So he got the combustion passive to proc with Zan on Stam DK to increase. So we were talking about that, right? We were talking about it. And that's what I'm telling you. Like, a lot of content creators and I, it's a lot of it's, stuff under the rug. It's the players who's been fed the stuff in the past and who has been like, oh, well, it's this and oh, it's that. And it's like, no, it's not. We're trying, like, each of us are now trying to tell you guys, hey, this is the way it is. We're trying to work together as on our own stuff, but trying to like, oh, okay, hey. I think if people want to hold on to BIS, they can for their playstyle and what they are trying to do with their build. But saying this gear is best for a class is not in this game. Exactly, Josh. And it's not. It's unfortunate. It's the truth. That's the truth. There will always be something that are mathematically better than others, depending on class, Death. That's what Outcast, Gilliam, and I, and Zai, and all of us now are saying. It's depending on class. You can't put every class in the same configuration and expect them to be the BIS. It doesn't work. It's mathematically flawed. Right? It is. If I have Sunderflame and I'm using a Sunderflame set, which class is going to get the best benefit from that said set? Which class? I could put it on any of them. I could put it on a Stamplar. I could put it on a Nightblade. But who gets the best benefits? The DK. Because the flame, even though it does flame damage and is pretty weak, it procs combustion. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Death. That's why there's no BIS. BIS, see, that's what you don't get, Death. You were fed BIS when you came into the game, but BIS is a linear system. This game isn't linear. That's why there is no best in slot. But extremely marginal. Thank you. Dude, I love you, I love you. Dude, you're the bomb. You can definitely tell you're an old school. Yeah, exactly. It's marginal. There are differences between each set and each class. You can put it on anything. But who's going to get the best out of said set? Stormfist guys. Which class gets the best out of it? Stampsork. Oh my god! Timbo, thank you. Templars are not the best healers. Changed my mind. Timbo, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Yeah, no, Templars, I think they're still really good healers. I think I think in this game, everything works because the devs thought about it from a much larger perspective than what we give credit for. When I refer to something as BIS, I'm referring to each class individually, but that's not what BIS is, Death, in MMOs. If you were an MMOer, you would know that BIS comes from stuff like World of Warcraft and Rift, where it was progression, right? So when I got my tier 3 and tier 4 came out, what was best in slot? Tier 4. That's BIS. That is BIS. Not, War Maiden is best for is BIS for Nightblades. Or is BIS for Nightblades. When you say BIS, it's like, okay, that would be an absolute rule to every STAM DPS because they're STAM DPS. They use the same abilities or whatever have you. And the game doesn't work that way.
Dad, 2 things.
Okay, 1 second. All right, I'm going to wrap this up here really quick. Yes, when you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 gear. Yeah, but they don't know that, Josh. BIS is subjective on this game. It completely. That's what I'm saying. Amen. I'm not going to tell players that their builds are bad because their builds are good, right? Because they're talented, right? And at the end of the day, Outcast always says one thing. No matter what configuration you get into, rotation is the most important aspect to DPS. I agree. 100%. 100%. I could put this dude in shit-ass gear, and if I have a shit-ass rotation, he's going to deal shit-ass damage. I could put him in the best gear that I think is going to be for this class, right, based on other recommendations, and if I still don't have my rotation down, I'm still going to deal shit DPS. It's just the way it is, you know? So you got to, whatever. There's also accounting for utility and sustain, right? Supplying party members with buffs is often more valuable than your own personal DPS. Thank you! Hey, dude! Oh, yes! This game allows you to stack buffs to hell for the entire party. Yeah, but how many people actually do it? That's a good question too. I love that, dude. Awesome. If you're a DK dealing flame damage, you're not gonna run Netch's touch. That's increase your shock damage. Exactly. Thank you. Those are my points. BIS to an MMOer is linear, right? To a real MMOer, it's linear. Also, to a real MMOer, this thing right in front of me will never be a parser. Because it'll give a damage output based on, my rotation, which is utilized as a tool to help rotation. It tests my rotation. It's not a parser because it doesn't break things down for me. Real MMOers use metrics, and those are why they're called parsers. Because they give the entire damage sequence, and everything's broke down. So if you reference a target dummy as a parser, you're not understanding the difference between metrics and target dummies. So I'll leave it at that. So I don't do clickbait either. And I totally agree with everything stated above. Right, Dad. But what I'm saying is, the BIS, like Outcast dropped it. Gilliam hasn't even been referring to it as much anymore because he realizes the indifferent values. So it's like, that's what we're saying. Death, I think you're a badass player. I played with you. You're good. You're great. But you have to have an open mind. My rotation, I've never seen you do anything more than smash all the buttons you've done, dungeons you've done. Sure. Okay. Actually, if you take a look, like that's the one thing I love, because when I'm on PC, Death, I'm pushing, on AOE's between 50 to 70k, and on targets, depending on mechanics, I'll get like 25, 30k. same as much as anybody else. If I have to pay attention to mechanics, it drops. But my parse is always up when I'm on PC. Right? My metrics is always on. So, have at it. If I'm button smashing, sure. Sure. But that's the problem, Death. Like, you know, a lot of people want to believe, like, you know, if you watch Outcast streams or even Gilliam's, everybody's hitting around, you know, between, depending on the mechanics, you know, between 25 and 30K, even if they get a 40 or 50 on a target dummy. Why? Because you can't avoid mechanics? You can't. Can I see one? Dude, if you watch me on PC, I do my shit on PC live. I'm not doing clickbait. Right? It's never going to happen. And if you watch, like I said, the other streamers, they all have their metrics up. We all have our metrics up when we're on PC. Nothing changes that. All right? That I don't care what you want, Death. Ask me if I give a fuck what you want. Because I don't give a shit. You've trolled me in the past. You have. You've said bis. You fed into the misconceptions that were out there before and the mistakes, and we all have, and I just made a mistake today. But it's the point. It's the principle. You were stacking CP at one time. Were you not? Because you were told to. Instead of testing it for yourself, you were told, and you did it. You don't do anything for yourself, Death. You do it because people tell you to do it. You're not a leader. You're a follower. It's okay. I'll show mine, Death. I bet you will, Uology. It's okay, Death. It's okay. Some people don't want to test things for themselves. Some people just want to go ahead and copy other people's shit and do as they're told. That's fine. Does that make you any less of a player? Not in my opinion. But are you doing it for yourself? No, you're not. Okay? There's a difference. You can't say this is the rotation and you must always do it this way. Mechanics, right. And that's exactly what we all say. Like not Gilliam. Outcast did. I think it was. What was it? Friggin' Maul. He did Bet Maul, and his rotation got skewed. And he was like, "Yeah, he's like, shit, my rotation got skewed," which is rare. It's rare, but it happened. It happens. You know, it does. It does. It happens to the best of us, to anybody. And if your rotation gets skewed, shit can get just all messed up. Because mechanics get in the way, and then all of a sudden you lose out in the recovery. Outcast has one of the best recoveries, and I don't know why he was complaining, because they still trashed it. Whatever, you know. But for him, he wants to have his rotation perfected. Right or wrong. You know, he's a perfectionist when it comes to his rotation and his recovery points. Nothing wrong with that. And has been that way for decades, Josh. Yep. It always has. Always. In turn-based, it was a little easier because we could macro buttons. But it's true. Mechanics get in the way. One thing that people don't consider, too, which I think is the line with what you're saying, and that is rotation can be created based on boss fights when you do things enough. You'll find yourself doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, dude, completely. Yep, that's it. I mean, it's to the point where sometimes even the animation, like, have you guys ever noticed, like, when you're doing a bar swap, and there are sometimes there's like a stick, right? And you're used to like hitting off and switching out, and sometimes your bar swap will stick. Is that your fault? No, there's just a momentary lag, and there's a response timer, right? So then your rotation gets out of the window. You can't control things like mechanics and response times due to internet connections and, you know, server response. That's just, you know, it's unavoidable. Not sure Death's point in here is except trying to trigger you. I don't think Death's trying to trigger me, actually. I don't think Death's triggering me. I think he has his concerns. He's putting it out there. And he was talking about Force Pulse, and I agreed with him. You know, if you're going to use, a Force Pulse on a Flame Staff, it's a good ability. You pair it up with Asylum, it's even better. But, you know, in the past, he's always wanted to try to prove me wrong. But he thinks that I'm saying that my builds are better than theirs. And everybody knows that that's not who I am. I tell people, do what works for you, and I build to the average player to try to maximize their performance with what they're having and what they don't have. You know, do everybody have master staffs? No. Does everybody have asylum weapons? They may not. I mean, I don't know if they have DLCs or not. It's pretty easy just to even get imperfect, but they may or may not have them. VMA, do they have Maelstrom weapons? No, maybe not. Who knows? But that's what I'm always saying. You can take what I'm giving you and improve upon it and do whatever you want. I'm just trying to help the average player. Anyways, guys, I do got to get going. Blum, thank you, Josh, Ingo, everyone of you. Death, thank you. Actually, I want to thank you, Death, because, you know, I like debates, man. I really do. I really do like debates, and I think you're a badass player. You're kick-ass. You are a kick-ass player, Death. So I will always give that up to you, brother. Always. All right. Mr. Craven, the CSO Daily. I was wrong today, but at least we covered it. All right. Thank you, and have a nice day.